it's Erica with the Chocolate Rooster, and I am coming to you tonight with some of my favorite baking tips when it comes to carrot cake. So first of all, most of the people on Facebook, on the Chocolate Rooster Facebook page, know me for making cupcakes, and it's always been desserts, and I've just, I guess, shown now that I really love cooking. I think probably more than I like desserts. But anyways, the Chocolate Rooster, I cannot ever give up that name. And part of the reason is because of Carrie Colombo from Olive Juice Productions. She made me the best logo in the entire world. I love it so much. It's just connected to everything. So thank you so much. I just want to let you know I really, really love it, and it's kept me inspired all these years. So I've already got all my wet ingredients together. It's this big, huge bowl. I usually would do this in a stand mixer, but I'm doing a full batch and a half, so I needed a lot more. I've got my wet mixture. I've got my dry mixture. I've got my nuts right here, walnuts, and some carrots. So the first thing I want to tell you is that the best thing that you can ever do when you make carrot cake is to take your carrots and soak them in brown sugar. I'm not going to give you my recipe for carrot cake. It's not going to happen. I'll give you recipes for other things, but I cannot do that for my cupcakes. It's the Chocolate Rooster, and I cannot do that. But find a recipe for carrot cake, and when you do, find one with brown sugar, and have your carrots soak in the brown sugar for 60 minutes. The reason is it's going to break down the carrots, and it's going to pull all of the sugar out of the carrots, and it makes this delicious liquidy goo that, my God, it will elevate your carrot cake above other people's carrot cakes. It just will. Second tip, I had to do, like I said, a batch and a half. I had all my eggs out that I needed for a full batch, so I needed to do a half a batch. My eggs were not, they were still cold. Anytime you bake, every ingredient should be at room temperature unless the recipe specifically says, like if it was for biscuits or maybe a pie crust, but always butter, eggs, room temperature, except for frostings. We're not talking frostings, we're talking baking. So my 2 eggs were still cold, so it is true you can put them in a cup of warm water, and just like for 10 minutes, and it'll bring it up to room temperature. Don't leave it in there for too long, because then it'll cool down the water. Another tip is about your dry ingredients in any and every recipe that you make. A lot of times it says to sift. A lot of times it doesn't say to sift. It doesn't say anything about it at all. Every single time you sift. Well, not sift, you whisk. You whisk. And it's like sifting. So it will take the place of sifting as well. So I whisk every dry ingredient no matter what I'm making. Once again, these are little tips I'm telling you that'll make your food just a little bit better than average. When you mix it and you put all those tips together all the time, and, well, your food tastes pretty good, All right, that's mixed up. I am going to add it into my wet ingredients, and I'm going to do it just slowly, a little bit at a time. I don't want to do too much at one time, unless it all falls in, which could totally 100% happen. So I'm just going to mix it in, and we just want to mix it in until, you never want to overmix any of your batter. Just mix it until it's all incorporated really good. I'm going to switch to a stiffer spoon, a wooden spoon. Just helps me have more control over everything. So we're just gonna mix this all in, and we're gonna talk about the nuts. We're gonna talk about nuts real quick. All right, every recipe that you have that calls for nuts, and I'm sure a lot of you already know this, but for some that don't, you should always toast your nuts. Every single recipe. I don't care if it's a salad, fruitcake, pecan pie, some kind of apple salad or chicken salad or whatever. It does not matter. Roast your nuts in the oven on 350 for about 6, 7, 8 minutes. You'll be able to smell them. And do that before you bake with it and before you put it in any other recipe, and it will taste so good. So much better. It really, really brings out the flavor of the nut of the nuts in the recipe. So I'm gonna get the rest of this in. I sure did switch back to the spoon, didn't I? And I do keep my little garbage bowl here still because it holds all my spoons. It's great. So I'm gonna keep mixing this in, and I am going to, after this is all incorporated, I'm gonna add my carrots soaked in the brown sugar and my nuts, and then I'm going to scoop them into my cupcake pans that are already ready and waiting for me. Let's switch again. So another tip I have for you, you didn't get to see it because I put away my mixer already because I did the wet ingredients in there. I'm a huge person when it comes to scraping the bowl on a consistent basis. There's always stuff that's on the bottom that you need to get. You should pause, lift your mixer or take out your beaters, scrape the bowl. You should do that often when you're baking. All right, so I'm cool. I'm mixed in. I'm gonna add my liquid goo here. See, look at all that. It's so awesome. The flavor is just so enhanced. The carrot flavor, and you can imagine they're gonna be a lot softer too, a lot more, a lot tender, a lot more tender. So I'm gonna fold this in a little bit. Oh my Lanta, look at that. This is so good. When I had first started making cupcakes, I did all box mixes. And then, man, it took me about 6 months. It's all my nuts. It took me about 6 months to find all my recipes for, homemade. And I'm so glad that I did, because there is just not a substitute for homemade cupcakes. And if you do use a box mix, dude, good for you. What you should do when you use a box mix, always add a teaspoon of vanilla. And when you use vanilla, you should never use the white vanilla. You should always, there's always certain occasions you use white, but you should really always use the real extract. It's a lot better. It tastes, it's just gonna be better. Better ingredients. Ina Garden's always like, use the good olive oil or whatever. It's so true. Use good stuff. Your food will taste better. All right. I am mixed and happy. So, looks really unappetizing, to be quite honest with you. I'm going to show you. All right. My last tip. I ordered this online. It's like, God, what is it called? A disher? D-I-S-H-E-R. It's a disher. And you could like scoop mashed potatoes and all that kind of stuff. It's like Slappa Joe, Slappa Joe. Like Lunch Ladyland. All right, so I always use this. I never not use this. It will never not happen. It's awesome. Buy one. This one came with a really cool ice cream thing too. It's like this flat, weird thing. I don't know. It's like a, I don't know, almost like an ice cream scraper. But anyway, so this is what I do. I'm going to continue doing this. And then this is the end of this video. So join me next time because we're going to make cream cheese icing, which I will give you the recipe for, and we'll make it together. And I'll show you how quick and easy it is to make it. And you will never go back to anything again after you have this. And it's so good if you like red velvet cake because that's the kind of icing that you have on there. So then the third video, the last one, is going to be the caramel sauce that I put on top of my carrot cake cupcake.